Wild Running, Part 2, Chapter 10. Tori had been riding Nebula every day since Dom had left. Sam and Anya were gone on their honeymoon, and she was out in the barn more than ever before, not just to spend time with Nebula, but also because she was in charge with both Sam and Anya away, and it fell to her to pick up the slack. Courtney had been surprisingly helpful, as had Friedman Chaswick, Dom's son. He was quiet and hard-working, and, while he didn't really talk to anyone, did his job well and without complaint. He still refused her invitation for meals, or even the occasional bottle of water. He just did his job and left as quietly as he had arrived. She had him working with some of the horses that were stabled there for training, and she was more than impressed with the results he was getting. His father's son, indeed. She was sure Anya used many of the methods he did, but Anya had learned horse training rather than whispering, and Tori felt the difference shown was significant. "Look out," April yelled from the barn as Dazzle raced across the yard to the training ring and squirmed under the fence. Nebula's eyes rolled back and she bolted sideways, unseating Tori and sending her off to the side into the fence. Nebula continued racing away from the puppy, bucking and kicking out in her panic. April raced to the training ring, unlatching it as quickly as possible, and approached the fearful horse. Dazzle had gone to Tori's side, so April moved up to Nebula from that side to keep Nebula going the other way, talking calmly and keeping her hands out to draw Nebula's attention. April snagged Nebula's flying reins as soon as she was able and led the horse from the ring and straight to the barn as quickly as she could. She deposited Nebula in her stall, equipment still on, and made a quick call for an ambulance before racing back to the ring to Tori. She found Tori unconscious, crumpled on the ground, her leg at an awkward angle. April didn't know what to do. She didn't dare move Tori, so she just sat beside her, tears streaming down her face as she cuddled Dazzle for comfort. Sean, April, and Blake were all at the hospital when Tori woke up. She hurt so bad, and her head felt fuzzy, and her throat was parched. "Water," she croaked. Sean wordlessly handed her a cup with a bendy straw and helped her to take a sip. When she made the move to sit up, he shook his head at her. "What happened?" she asked. April rushed to the side of the bed, her face drenched with tears, her eyes bloodshot from extensive crying. "I'm so sorry, Tori. Dazzle snuck by me when I went to grab a treat for Sugar, and I couldn't catch her. Nebula freaked out and threw you into the fence, and you went down hard," April explained. "You've got a broken leg and a concussion," Sean continued. "They had to set your leg and put a cast on it. The doc said your helmet probably saved your life." Tori nodded, and pain shot through her skull. "Nebula?" "She's fine. Courtney's taking care of her. She's a bit spooked, but none the worse for wear otherwise." "Same as Dazzle," Blake offered. Tori closed her eyes. "Good. The doctor wants to keep you overnight for observation, but you can come home in the morning." Sean brushed a strand of her dark hair off her face. "I'll be here to pick you up." "Okay, you know you're in charge now, right?" she asked, still keeping her eyes closed as she drifted closer to unconsciousness again. "Don't tell Anya or she'll rush home." "Don't worry, I'll take care of everything," Sean assured her. He turned to Blake and April when Tori drifted off. "Come on, time to get back to work." Blake and April were doing stalls together when the dam broke. "How could you be so careless, April?" Blake demanded angrily. Tori was family, and one careless move had nearly cost her life. He knew that getting hurt was to be expected when working on a ranch, but he couldn't help the impotent rage that gnawed at his insides. "It's not like I intended for that to happen, Blake," April shot back, her eyes glittering at him over the stall door. "Even if I had let Dazzle out on purpose, I couldn't have predicted that she would ignore me completely and make a race for the corral, you know." Blake shook his head and angrily pitched manure into his wheelbarrow. "She could have died," he reiterated, enunciating each word viciously. Her own anger racked up another notch, and she practically snarled at him. "Yeah, too bad it wasn't you." She regretted the words as soon as they were out, but it was too late. He straightened slowly and pinned her with a steely look. "Do you?" he asked softly. Her chin rose, and she nodded defiantly. "We're done," he told her and turned away. "Good, because I never want to see you again." "Good, neither do I." "Good." She turned and stormed up to the house and barged into the kitchen where she knew she'd find Sean making dinner. "I quit." Sean blinked in surprise. "Why? What's wrong?" he asked. The concern in his voice nearly broke her control, but she stiffened her spine and forced a shrug. "I'll send someone for my horses when I have a place for them," she informed him, and turned on her heel before she could change her mind and beg him to what? Fire Blake and keep her instead? No, she couldn't do that. She couldn't run the risk of more hurt by being turned away. Anya may have called her family, but she wasn't, and she knew it. She walked out with as much dignity as she could, got into her car, and drove away, knowing that she would never step foot on wild running soil again. Sean carried Tori into the house. She still had a headache from her concussion, but was otherwise doing as well as could be expected. She knew she'd gotten lucky, that she could have been hurt much worse, could have even died. But she didn't feel very lucky with a broken leg and a headache that wouldn't go away. Sean deposited her on the couch and sat down beside her, carefully propping her injured leg onto his lap. "You're a lifesaver, Sean," she told him gratefully as she relaxed into the deep cushions. The medication was kicking in, taking the edge off her headache, and she finally felt she could relax. "I should have been there." Tori frowned at the quiet anger in his tone. Sean was the least angry person she knew. She'd never seen him mad. He almost always had a smile on his face, was quick with a joke or teasing, making everyone around him laugh. "No, you shouldn't have. You were doing your job, fixing that stupid tractor. Again. If you hadn't been, you would have been in a lot of trouble." He gripped her good ankle and shook his head. "I failed you." Now her own temper began to rise just a little. "What are you talking about? You got me to the hospital, took care of things while I was forced to stay there, and brought me home. What more could you have done?" "April quit and left. Blake's a mess, and you're literally broken. I'm not exactly useful to you." "At least Freeman and Courtney survived," she said in an attempt of humor. At his look, she sighed. "What do you expect from yourself? That you could have caught Dazzle before she scared Nebula? That you could have somehow prevented Blake and April from breaking up? You are just as fallible as every other human being that has ever been on this planet. Except maybe for Jesus. He's the exception," she said with another hint at a smile. "You're a man, Sean, a really good man, but you aren't Superman, nor do I expect you to be. Bad things happen. It's just the world we live in, and you can't blame yourself when they do." "Then who do I blame? Why does there have to be blame at all?" Sean just shook his head. "Things happen, Sean, and the only thing to do is take them as they come. Face them together. That's what people do when they love each other." Realizing what she just said, she quickly backtracked. "Well, I love you anyway. You don't have to feel the same way or say it or anything." Sean's dark blue eyes softened on her face, and a smile finally broke through. "I love you too, Tori. I have for a long time." She raised an eyebrow at him. "And you didn't say it first because..." Now he grinned. "I didn't want to scare you away. You would have run like a rabbit." She wrinkled her nose at him. "Just because that's true." She trailed off with a laugh. "If you didn't have a broken leg, I would pull you into my arms and kiss you senseless," he told her, his eyes darkening. She reached forward and brushed her fingers down his face. "It'll heal eventually," she promised. "Good, because I'm going to marry you as soon as it's better," he told her, laughing at the shocked look that crossed her face. She fell back in stunned silence, just looking at him as though he just revealed that he was, in fact, Superman. Her mouth opened and closed a few times, causing him to laugh all the harder. She waited until he'd started to quiet. "Yes," she said simply, and was rewarded by his own shocked expression. Then he grinned and slowly rose and turned to place her foot gently on the couch before he crouched by her head and took her face between his hands. "I love you," he whispered, and brought her face forward for his kiss. The end.